Welcome to the Procrastinator Cook channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do so by clicking on the subscribe button and hitting the notification bell so you would get a notification every time I post a new video. Today we're making a vegetarian Middle Eastern dish that is absolutely delicious. It is a savory pumpkin pie stuffed with spinach and chickpeas, and we call it pumpkin Kibbe or Kibbeh اليقطين or Kibbeh اليقطين. It is absolutely delicious, and it is a variation of the traditional meat Kibbe, that is Bulgar wheat meat and pine nuts. I am also going to show you towards the end a more modern way of presenting it. This is the traditional, and we will have a modern way of presenting this kibbeh. For this recipe, you're going to need obviously some pumpkin, put a bit of water in the pot, do not submerge it, and cook it on the stove until fork tender. Now, preparing the stuffing, you're going to chop a lot of onions. I added leeks because I had them in my fridge, and then sauteed them in a pot with extra virgin olive oil until they are translucent and nice and tender. And then while the onions are being cooked, I finally chopped the stems of the spinach and then gave the spinach a rough chop because I want them to stay big and chunky. And this is a really fast stuffing recipe. It's not gonna take time on the stove. Now, after you add the spinach, you're gonna season it. All of the ingredients and seasoning and measurements are in the description box below in my blog post, so make sure you take a look at it. And then for the pumpkin, now it's fork tender, so I'm gonna add all of the pumpkin to the Bulgar wheat. I have fine Bulgar wheat number 1, and you're gonna notice that the Bulgar wheat is getting puffed up and becoming more like tender because of the moisture from the pumpkin. Reserve the pumpkin liquid on the side because you will need it. Continuing with the pumpkin kibbeh or dough, you just roughly chop the onions obviously and add the mint, and then start adding the mixture of the pumpkin and the Bulgar wheat gradually, because I did like a huge batch, and I also froze some of it, which is perfect, this recipe for freezing. And the frozen dough that I had left over, I actually used it for the modern presentation, which I will show you towards the end. So now you're just seasoning it gradually, cinnamon, mix of Arabic spices, salt, that's it. And you're gonna add a little bit of the liquid pumpkin, and like if you feel like you need it, because if it gets dry, the Bulgar wheat will continue taking the moisture out from the pumpkin. Now this is perfect consistency. We're gonna spread it in a well-oiled pan, and then you kind of patch it and kind of connect it together. It's an easy dough to work with. You add your stuffing, and then you kind of do the second layer exactly the same. You kind of spread it between your hands, and then you could see my mother-in-law, it's actually her recipe. She's doing the traditional kind of pattern that they do on all types of kibbeh with meat, vegetarian, etc. And she drizzled a bit of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and we baked it in the oven for around 30 minutes, and then we kind of broiled the top to get a nice golden crust on top. For this is the more kind of modern kind of approach of how to present it. I added walnuts to the stuffing this time. You could do that for the traditional as well because it's quite traditional. And then I put some parchment paper just to make sure I can lift the kibbeh pieces easily, but they were actually easily I could easily lift them up and take them out from the pan. And you would just do the same. You kind of put a layer of kibbeh and then the stuffing, and then another layer of kibbeh, and you drizzle with olive oil on top. And I kind of decorated the top with a piece of walnut, which gives a nice crunch and it looks nice. And that's basically it. You bake it in the oven at 350 Fahrenheit. Again, all of the directions of how to cook, the recipe, the ingredients are going to be in the description box below, and of course you can print it from my blog. It's absolutely delicious, yummy, soft from the inside and crispy on the outside. I hope you like it. Subscribe and let me know if you tried it. Thank you.